First of all, I would like to thank the Japan Society for this award in the special year of the 150th anniversary of the introduction of baseball from the United States to Japan. It is a great honor for me to have played both in Japan and the United States. The Japan Society has been a presence that has always been very close to me. I won't mention the name, but the first place I lived when I came to New York from Japan was in the tall black building standing next to the Japan Society. A friend of mine knew Reiko Sasa, the director of the Japanese language program at the Japan Society, and I was introduced to her. After that, I often visited the Japan Society, and Sasa was always very kind to me, inviting me to have coffee with her while allowing me to borrow books from the library and use the facility for various events. One day, Sasa-san asked me if I'd like to be introduced to some beautiful American woman who was interested in Japanese language and culture. I don't remember what it was because I was busy playing baseball or just wasn't confident in myself, but I respectfully declined her offer. Had I accepted her offer, then and befriended an American woman, I would be standing here speaking much better English than I am now. Yeah. Sadly, Sasa-san passed away a few years ago, but I think she is happy in heaven knowing that I am standing here now. I'd like to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude to Sasa-san. When I look back on my professional baseball career, there are two people to whom I owe the greatest debt of gratitude. One is Shigeo Nagashima, who was my manager for 9 of the 10 years I played in Japan, with the exception of my last year. The other is Joe Torre, who was my manager for the first 5 years of my 10-year career in Major League Baseball, and who is here today as a presenter for me. I think there needs to be explanation to Japanese people that Nagashima-san is the biggest superstar in the history of Japanese professional baseball. He gave me hitting coaching every day in spite of his position as a manager. He also taught me the most necessary attitude for a professional baseball player. Joe made it easy for me to play as a newcomer from Japan. And even when I was not hitting well in my first year, he made sure to continue using me in games. I think it was because of the period of time that I was able to make that adjustment to Major League Baseball. After that, I was able to play with the peace of mind that I had Joe's trust at all times. Without those two encounters, my career would have been completely different, and I would not be standing here today. Once again, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to both of them. Thank you. Now, I would like to share with you why I wanted to play for the Yankees in the first place and was fortunate enough to make it happen. Nagashima-san and Joe had a lot to do with that as well. Nagashima-san was a big fan of Joe DiMaggio and had a large picture of him hanging in his home. When I joined the Giants, I was an infielder and wanted to play third base, but he told me I want to be a player like Joe DiMaggio, and converted me to center field. I was always conscious of his word. In 1999, the year Joe DiMaggio passed away, I wanted to go to Yankee Stadium where he played. The Yomiuri Giants did not win the pennant and had early off-season that year. So I was able to go to New York and catch a playoff game. I asked a friend and was able to get a great seat behind the home plate for Game 2 of the American League Championship Series from a broker. It is hard to imagine now, but it costs just $450 to buy from a broker back then. The Yankees, where Joe was manager, were in their golden era, winning 3 consecutive World Series in 1998, 99, and 2000. When I entered Yankee Stadium, I was first overwhelmed by the atmosphere of the stadium, especially since the opponent was the Red Sox. The pinstripes were shining brightly. David Cohn, who had pitched a perfect game that year, started the game. Tino Martinez hit a home run, and though the Red Sox took back the lead at one point, Paul O'Neill made a clutch hit to score the winning run, and finally, Mariano Rivera failed them off to win 3-2. It was a great game. Watching number 6 from behind and greeting the players after the victory was also impressive. I was so moved by it all that I felt in my heart, if I ever make it to the major league, this would be where I'd like to play. I also thought that I had to develop into the player that the Yankees wanted by the time I became a free agent. Incidentally, the Mets were also in the playoffs that year. And I was able to watch Game 3 of the National League Championship Series the next day at Shea Stadium. The Braves won 1-0 in a great pitching duel between Al Leiter and Tom Gravine. The game was great, but not as exciting as what I had felt at Yankee Stadium that day before. 3 years later, in 2002, I became a free agent. I had received many comments from people who wanted me to stay with the Yomiuri Giants, but I still felt the excitement I had felt 3 years earlier. When I became honest with myself, I knew I wanted to be there. I didn't know if I was good enough, but hitting a home run against Al Leiter in the 1998 Japan-US baseball games and watching David Cohn pitch at Yankee Stadium and somehow feeling like I could hit gave me the push I needed. I wanted to play in the major league and waited for an offer. The only teams that gave me an offer were the Yankees and the Mets. At the time, I felt like fate that I had seen game in the Bronx and Queens in 1999. I stayed true to my feeling and chose to play in the Yankee Stadium wearing the pinstripes. Thus, I felt that Nagashima-san and Joe led me to the Yankees. I was born in 1974, the year Nagashima-san retired from baseball. Joe came to Japan as a Mets player that year and played in the Japan-US baseball games. Nagashima-san and Joe played against each other in Japan the year I was born. And 3 years later, in 2004, Joe and I went to Japan for the Yankees MLB season opener. It may have been just me, but I felt a connection. I actually only realized this last week as I was preparing the speech. And home run I hit as a Yankee at Tokyo Dome, my former home, is one of my most memorable home runs. I have a dream one day Nagashima-san, Joe, and I would be able to meet in Tokyo together. I had dinner with Joe when we went to Tokyo for the opening series in 2004. Since we are in Tokyo, I wanted to Joe to have a good Japanese meal, so I made a reservation at a restaurant with a very famous chef. I had been informed that Joe could eat anything, so I told the chef about it. I was quite excited about eating some really delicious Japanese food, which I had not had in quite some time. But when I looked at Joe, he had hardly eaten at all. I got worried and asked him if he was okay. And then I learned that Joe could not eat sea urchin. And I felt really bad and embarrassed. From then on, Italian became our watchword. I love Italian food too, and Joe has introduced me to some of the best Italian restaurants around the country. If my dream of Nagashima-san, Joe, and I meeting together in Japan comes true someday, I would like to make sure that I improve my scouting skills and gather better information from Joe to properly prepare for the restaurant next time. Last month, for the first time in history, the Japan parade was held in Manhattan. I'm also happy to hear that in recent years, the opportunity to introduce Japanese traditions, food, anime, and other aspects of Japanese culture are increasing more and more in New York City. As I mentioned at the beginning, this year marks the 150th anniversary of the introduction of baseball from the United States to Japan. To commemorate this, I had heard that Mr. Mori, the Consul General of New York, who is in attendance today, will be throwing out a first pitch at Stifield. So I was looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I learned the news that he was unable to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. I didn't know that the cause was, but as a fellow Japanese, I was saddened and a bit troubled by it. So I checked the video of Consul General Mori walking off the field without being able to throw out the first pitch. Watching his back, he showed the grace, patience, and humility, all qualities that are uniquely Japanese. I was very moved when Consul General Mori commented, "I was happy to see a top Major League Baseball pitcher pitch in front of me." What positive thinking. He is indeed a Japanese who proudly represents New York. Well, perhaps he might have fared better in the Bronx. I too would like to use today's honor to continue to work to promote Japan-US exchange through baseball. As a Japanese living in New York, I hope that the Japan Society will continue to provide opportunity for New Yorkers to experience the various aspects of Japanese culture. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone involved with the Japan Society and everyone here today. Thank you very much.